Hello and welcome to Failure to Sew. My name is Kate. I'm going to assume you're new here because I'm new here. I have posted a few YouTube videos before, but it's been a long time. And my thing is coming up with excuses not to do things. So I work full time, I'm managing a chronic illness, and I'm also studying part-time for higher education, and those aren't even the things that are my usual excuses. Things like I don't have a particularly great camera. We are filming today on my phone. I don't really know what I'm doing with photo editing, so this video hopefully is going to be posted pretty much exactly as it is. I'm going to give it a few tweaks, a little bit of trimming, and it's going to go up because, you know, this is a reason not to do something that could just go on forever. So this month I would like to take part in 2 sewing challenges. I have never successfully taken part in a sewing challenge before. I have planned for the last several years to take part in both Sewyellowforendo and hashtag So Frugal, whatever year it is, So Frugal 2024 this year. I did make a start last year in sewing something for So Frugal. When I say failure to sew, I'll get to that. Another thing that I seem to enjoy doing is ordering fabric online and receiving something not quite exactly what I was expecting, which we'll get into for my fabric for Sewyellowforendo. Basically, I wouldn't have yellow fabric available in my stash if I had received what I ordered. I have come to believe in this occasion it wasn't my fault and they've actually sent me the wrong thing. But I bought this fabric 2 years ago, so there's obviously nothing I can do about it now. So this is a very nice 21 wheel cotton corduroy with like maybe a tiny bit of, not really any stretch. It's quite light. It's lighter than I was expecting it to be for corduroy, but it's still very nice and a suitable fabric for what I wanted to make out of it. Unfortunately, it's not my colour. It's very close to my colour, but it's not my colour. So my colour palette is cool, fresh, bright, highly saturated colours. This is mustard. I have worn mustard in the past. I have put a lot of effort in the last couple of years into editing my wardrobe down into things that are just in my colour palette, and as a result everything goes with everything else. It's not a million miles away. There are things in my wardrobe that it will go with, but it is a colour that I have been deliberately eliminating from my wardrobe. That said, it was nearly £40 and I don't want this fabric to go to waste. So I am going to make something out of it for Sewyellowforendo, and I do believe that I will wear the item, partly because it is a pinafore dress and it is going to be worn with something else underneath it that is a colour in my colour palette, so hopefully it won't clash with my face. Part of the reason that I believe they sent me the wrong fabric is that I ordered it in chartreuse, which, like, I don't know, like, it's one of those colours like khaki where it could be 3 to 5 distinct colours that are all being described as khaki. Chartreuse is that weird greeny yellow colour, and sometimes you do get things that are kind of mustard described as chartreuse. So when it arrived, it's close enough to the colour that I ordered that I thought, wow, that was a bad photograph on their website. They've clearly taken that with like an extreme use of flash to get it to look green. And I wouldn't have just used that photograph on the website. I wouldn't have described it as chartreuse, but I figured it was my own fault and kept it. Now, I ordered it with matching thread. Here's the matching thread. I don't know how well you can see that, but I hope that you will agree with me that these colours are not remotely the same. This is yellow and this is green. So they still sell this fabric in a colour they are describing as ochre. They do not have chartreuse left. I am convinced that they sent me the wrong colour in error. I have emailed them about it. It's been 2 years. I'm not really expecting them to do anything. If I don't get at least an apology, I will probably leave them a bad review. We'll see. Anywho, so this is what I am using for my Sewyellowforendo, hopefully. It's as I say, it's not dissimilar from colours that I have in my wardrobe. This is a very similar colour, but it's bright and shiny. I do wear this. I obviously don't wear it next to my face because it's a skirt. I have this actually new purchase, well, new to me because it did come from like a little vintage pre-loved shop in Moira where I took Mum out for Mother's Day. It's fabulous. This is by Darling London. I haven't worn it out yet. It does have a little thread coming off it that I want to fix before I wear it anywhere, but it is fabulous. And I have this as well, which is, you know, it's also not a million miles away. It's got a bit more green in it. I feel like it might be a bit much altogether, but I possibly could even wear this top with the pinafore dress. Technically the pattern I'm using is not for a pinafore dress, but the pattern maker, who is Casey at Pattern Scout, has done a hack of making a pinafore dress out of this. And you can basically just wear it as a pinafore dress. There wasn't really a lot of changing went on. I think she took it in slightly at the back to give it a bit more shaping rather than being like a slightly more relaxed fit, like a summery dress, and obviously made it in a heavier fabric. This pattern has 2 pieces. Can't say fairer than that. It does need bias binding. I will not be making bias binding out of this. It'll be too thick, so I'll use something else. But the pattern is all cut out, ready to go. So I'm doing very well here. It's better than I'm normally doing at this stage. I did have a university assignment due in earlier this month and some fairly awful personal stuff going on. That is now, for the most part, dealt with. Assignment is in. Got my marks back already. It's fine. So this is my pattern. I don't know. That's showing up the wrong way around on my screen, so we'll see what it's like on the computer screen. If it's very off, I'll just insert a picture, but I'll insert a picture of the pattern anyway. So this is the Hana Tank and Dress by Pattern Scout. It's a very simple pattern. I'm doing the version with no buttons, so it's got no closures. It's 2 pattern pieces and some bias binding. This should be achievable before the entry date for Sewyellowforendo. My fabric has been washed, my pattern is cut out. There's nothing to stop me, apart from myself. As usual, nothing to stop me, apart from myself. So, let's see how we get on with that. It is very nice fabric, it feels lovely. I'm just very sad about the colour. But anyway, let us move on to #SoFrugal2024. I've wanted to take part in this challenge since it started. I love a free pattern. I have a pattern stash. I have frequently ordered fabrics that have arrived and not been exactly what I was expecting, and I lose momentum with whatever I was planning if it's not what I thought it was going to be. I have once sent fabric back, and I was only proactive about that because I was making a gift for someone else. My husband is 6'3", and for Christmas the year before last I made him an hoodie because the hoodies from the shop are not long enough for him to wear. So I made him an extremely bright green Oogie Boogie themed hoodie, giant hoodie pattern, which he wears constantly. I've made it like a curly hood and everything. It's fab. But I was proactive about fixing my fabric faux pas because I needed the fabric to make the thing to give to him for Christmas, which I did. I wish I'd looked more into this fabric when I bought it and it derived being the wrong thing, but I didn't do that. So the first 2 years of So Frugal, I didn't manage to achieve anything. There was no start made. I looked at patterns and thought about fabric. I did nothing else. Last year, I thought, this is the year, I'm definitely going to do it. And I hunted high up and low down for a free woven sewing pattern with bust cup sizes. And I could not find one. I found a number of stretch patterns, mostly t-shirts with bust cut options. I'm a bit of a strange shape. I have made a valiant attempt at the adding a full bust adjustment on my own. It has never worked. Using my own measurements and trying to adjust the pattern, it doesn't work. It goes very badly wrong. So I have, for the most part, given up on doing that, and I just buy patterns that have bust cup sizes in them because they've been made with me in mind, and I'm cool with that. I'm not a prolific enough sewer to be like, oh, I can't get that pattern because it doesn't have cup sizes. I don't need all the patterns. I have lots of patterns. I just deal with the patterns that I've got. I'm trying to sew something. So last year I found the Love Notions Laundry Day tee and dress, which at least was a dress, even if it's stretch fabric, and I really wanted something woven. I thought, I'm going to try this pattern out for Sew Frugal because it is available for free. I think you have to join their Facebook page to get it for free. You can buy it for £5 if you don't want to join the Facebook page or you're not on Facebook. Fairly sure it's Facebook. Anyway, I got my pattern for free. I had this fabric in my stash for, I want to say, a couple of years prior to cutting it out for this, because I moved here with it. And I've been in this house for 4 years. So it is cute. It's very cute. It's got a nice stretch to it. Does peel out a little bit if you stretch it, but let's hope I'll not be stretching it that much when I put it on. And it's got little llamas on it. I love a llama. So it's pretty much in my colour palette. We've got the blue and the green. It's all good. It's got little bits of pink in it. It's very cute. Very nice. So I, without measuring, I was fairly sure how much of this fabric I had. I vividly remember buying 3 meters of this fabric. I don't have 3 meters of this fabric. So I did a very stupid thing, a rookie mistake, if you will. I laid this pattern out somewhere that was at a comfortable height for me to cut my pattern out, which in this case happened to be on top of the ironing board. And I folded it and I put the first pattern piece on it, which was the back. And I cut that out and that was fine. And then I got the front piece and I went to lay it on the fabric and I did not have enough to cut the front. So yes, a stupid mistake that I've been sewing for several years now. I should have known better. I did not check the length of fabric that I had. I did not lay out my pattern pieces before I started cutting. I cut one piece and I didn't have enough to cut the rest. And I thought, it's okay, we can still work with this. It'll be fine. So I cut a piece to do the top part of the dress down to just below the bust. And I thought, that's fine. I can cut 2 pieces for the front, mirrored, and with a bit of seam allowance, and sew them together, and I can sew the whole thing together and it'll have some visible seams, but I will still have a wearable garment. I cut 2 lefts. Like, you couldn't make it up. I cut 2 lefts. So having not had enough fabric to cut the front piece, I then cobbled together the front piece and cut it wrong again. So I have these pieces. I have the pattern cut out. I have these pieces cut out. They are not a garment. In their current format, they cannot be made into a current garment. I don't know whether I would call this a whip as such. It was a fail. For me, it was a fail. This was relegated into a bag and it hasn't been out of this bag in a year. So this fabric, I hope to make a laundry day something with this year. I am going to see what I can put together. I will not be able to put together the full length dress with the pattern, with the pieces of fabric that I have now. I may be able to cut out like a longer t-shirt, like a tunic length top with a little cap sleeve out of the bits of fabric that I have left. But at the moment, this is fabric in my stash. Strictly speaking, I have cut some of it out already and some of it is probably usable to make my garment. I did start it in March. It wasn't March 2024. But I'm hoping no one will penalise me for that. I'm going to take this mess and try to make a wearable garment with it. And those are my plans for Sew Frugal 2024. So wish me luck. I haven't made a garment in a year. I've done a lot of mending in the last year, but I haven't made a garment. We had some bad stuff happen about a year and a half ago, and I have only put on weight since then, despite hardly eating anything. And I have not been feeling like making clothes because I'm not a size that I'm comfortable with. That is my personal feeling. I have always been a pretty fit, active person, and I don't massively recognise myself at the moment. And I haven't wanted to spend time making garments that fit a body that I'm not happy with. But we're getting over that this year. We're not entertaining that mental cul-de-sac. So I am going to try and make these two things. I'm not going to make a toile. What's the worst that could happen? I'm going to do a bit of measuring of both patterns. Clearly I cut this out without making a toile last year. But it's stretchy, so it's a little more forgiving. The other one, I'm just going to measure the pattern and check that things like the bust line is at the right level for me and things like that. Going by the pattern chart, this size should fit me fine. I love Scout patterns. Their Comfy Tee is my go-to t-shirt pattern. It comes with, I think, B, C and D cups. And I have a broad back and broad shoulders and a big bust and then narrow hips. So the usual full bust adjustments don't tend to work for me, but I've had a reasonable amount of success with stretch patterns in cutting out one size down with the D cup option. That seems to work well. Everything fits pretty good. I am happy with the fit. So this year we are sewing with wovens. So we'll see how that goes. And I will come back and let you know how it's gone. And hopefully you will see my entries in the Sewyellowforendo and Sew Frugal 2024. See you soon.